It's the 25th of October, 1944. The sun is just beginning to rise over the Philippine Sea. Dawn light filters across the water, catching the outlines of American escort carriers and their tiny protective fleet. On the horizon, dark shapes appear, an armada unlike anything the men aboard have ever seen. The Japanese Navy has unleashed its most desperate gamble yet, the largest battleships in the world. Cruisers, destroyers, all steaming full speed toward a lightly defended American task group. Men of Taffy 3, barely a dozen ships, mostly escort carriers, are about to face a nightmare. And in the center of it all is one man, Commander Ernest E. Evans, captain of the destroyer USS Johnston DD-557. Evans is no ordinary officer. Part Cherokee, raised in Oklahoma, he earned his commission through grit and determination. A Mustang officer who rose from enlisted ranks, he understands the common sailor. His crew knows him as a captain who leads from the front, who shares their dangers, who never asks them to do what he won't do himself. At the commissioning of Johnston 2 years earlier, Evans had made a promise to his crew. This is going to be a fighting ship. I intend never to retreat from an enemy force regardless of size. If any of you do not want to go along, you can get off right now. Not one man left. On this morning, that leadership will be tested like never before. Admiral Takeo Kurita's massive force bears down on the Americans. 4 battleships, including the mighty Yamato and Musashi, 8 heavy cruisers bristling with 8-inch guns, 11 destroyers racing ahead like hunting wolves. In total, over 300,000 tons of warship, nearly 200 major guns, 23 ships built for one purpose, to destroy. Against them, Taffy 3, 6 escort carriers, each smaller than a single Japanese cruiser, 3 destroyers, 4 destroyer escorts, maybe 30,000 tons total. The escort carriers, Fanshawe Bay, St. Lo, White Plains, Kalinan Bay, Kitkin Bay, and Gambier Bay, are thin-skinned vessels designed to ferry aircraft to distant bases. Their flight decks are wooden, their hulls are unarmored. They carry a few 5-inch guns for defense against submarines, not battleships. Behind these fragile ships lie the landing beaches of Leyte, where 200,000 American soldiers depend on naval protection. If Kurita breaks through, the invasion could collapse in hours. The mathematics of war have never looked bleaker. The klaxon wails. Sailors scramble to their stations, faces pale, eyes wide. All hands to battle stations! Evans bursts onto the bridge, binoculars in hand. His voice is calm, steady, almost unnervingly so. What do we have, Mr. Kintberger? His executive officer swallows hard. Multiple contacts, Captain. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, hundreds of guns bearing down on us. Lieutenant Robert Hagen, the gunnery officer, checks his plot. Sir, enemy force estimated at over 20 vessels. Lead battleship appears to be Yamato class. The bridge falls silent for a moment. Everyone knows what that means. Yamato, 72,000 tons of steel and fury. 9 18-inch guns that can punch through a mountain. Armor thicker than Johnston's entire hull. Evans doesn't hesitate. Well, we're going in. The Johnston's going to draw some fire. Crew exchange looks of disbelief. They know their ship, 2,100 tons, lightly armored, armed with 5 5-inch guns and 10 torpedoes. Against battleships like Yamato, 72,000 tons with 18-inch guns, the Johnston is a toothpick charging a bear, but Evans has made his choice. Throughout the ship, men check their equipment one last time. Gunners' mates ram shells into breaches. Torpedomen arm their deadly fish. Damage control parties ready their pumps and patches. In the engine room, Chief Machinist's mate, George Acton, pushes the throttles forward. "Give me everything she's got," Evans calls down the voice tube. "You've got it, Captain," Acton shouts back. Boatswain's mate. First Class Bill Mercer, manning his battle station, mutters to the sailor beside him, "Skipper's lost his mind." "Maybe, but he's our skipper," comes the reply. The little destroyer surges ahead, her bow wave curling white against the blue Pacific. Full ahead. "Come left to course 270. Sound torpedo attack." Johnston leaps forward, engines straining, bow slicing through the waves. Spray lashes across the deck as Evans drives his destroyer straight at the Japanese fleet. Range to target, 15,000 yards. Enemy battleships opening fire. The first salvo screams in, monstrous shells the size of Volkswagens. They crash into the sea around the Johnston, geysers of water towering higher than the mast. The ship shakes from the concussion. Seaman First Class Floyd Hull, manning a 20mm gun, watches the shells explode. "Jesus Christ," he whispers. "They're the size of telephone poles." "Hold steady. Keep her nose pointed right at them," Evans barks. Range closes, 14,000 yards, 13,000, 12,000. Johnston races through the forest of shell splashes, her luck holding by mere yards. Then, impact. A shell slams into the Johnston's forward section. The ship shudders violently. Men are thrown off their feet. The bow erupts in flame and twisted steel. "Fire in the forward engine room!" someone yells. Evans grips the rail, his face set like stone. We're still in this fight. Damage control, do your jobs. Guns, keep firing. Johnston's 5-inch guns roar to life. Shells streak toward the Japanese cruisers, tiny sparks against steel leviathans. Gun Captain Pete Cooley, manning the forward 5-inch mount, screams over the noise, "Load, load, keep 'em coming!" His crew works like demons, ramming shells home, swinging the gun to follow targets. The gun barrel glows cherry red from rapid fire, but Evans isn't aiming to win a gunnery duel. He's closing the distance. Closing and preparing to unleash his torpedoes. Range, 10,000 yards. Enemy closing fast. Japanese heavy cruiser Yamato looms ahead, her 8-inch guns belching flame. Her shells scream past Johnston's bridge. Still, Johnston charges. Evans shouts, "Stand by torpedoes, fire when ready." Torpedo Man First Class Neil Deathlefs and his crew prepare their weapons. 10 Mark 15 torpedoes, each carrying 825 pounds of TNT. Fire 1, fire 2, fire all tubes. Johnston's launchers belch forth their deadly fish, streaking beneath the waves at 45 knots. Moments later, impact. A Japanese heavy cruiser convulses as 2 torpedoes slam into her hull. A tremendous explosion lifts her bow out of the water. Smoke and fire erupt. She veers out of formation, listing heavily to port. "We got her! We got the bastard!" someone yells. The men aboard Johnston cheer, voices ragged with adrenaline. But Johnston's attack has consequences. Every Japanese gun that can bear swivels toward the audacious destroyer. Shells rain down again, hammering the little ship. The sea boils with fire. American escort carriers launch Wildcat fighters and Avengers, desperate to help. Pilots dive through curtains of flak, strafing Japanese decks, dropping whatever bombs they can. Destroyers and destroyer escorts of Taffy 3, Johnston, Howell, Heerman, and Samuel B. Roberts charge into the storm, laying smoke screens, firing wildly, turning themselves into targets. Smoke generators pour out thick white clouds that shroud the carriers. Chemical fog burns eyes and throats, but it saves lives by hiding the fleeing escort carriers from Japanese gun directors. Against all odds, the Japanese are confused. Admiral Kurita, watching from Yamato's bridge, sees destroyers attacking like cruisers. He sees aircraft swarming his ships. Smoke and chaos make it impossible to assess the true size of the American force. They believe they are facing a much larger American force. Admiral Kurita, commanding from Yamato, hesitates. His staff officers argue on the bridge. "Sir, we're taking hits from multiple directions." Those destroyers are attacking like they have nothing to lose. Perhaps this is Admiral Halsey's main force. Meanwhile, Evans keeps driving Johnston forward. The ship is bleeding, burning, but she will not stop. A Japanese heavy cruiser looms ahead, guns swiveling toward Johnston. Evans recognizes her. Chikuma, a veteran of Pearl Harbor and Midway. Her 8-inch guns can smash Johnston to pieces at this range, but Evans seizes the opportunity. Helm, hard right. All guns, fire as you bear. The 2 ships trade blows at close range, less than 6,000 yards apart. Johnston's guns hammer the cruiser's bridge. Japanese shells rip through Johnston's hull. Gunner's mate First Class Clarence Corey, laying his gun with precision, puts shell after shell into the enemy cruiser. "That's for Pearl Harbor, you sons of a gun!" One sailor remembers looking up and seeing the rising sun flag. Just hundreds of yards away, so close he could see the men on deck. Japanese sailors are running across Chikuma's decks, fighting fires, carrying wounded. "Keep hitting her," Evans yells. "Make every round count." Johnston's shells smash into the cruiser's superstructure. Flames engulf her. She staggers, turns, and withdraws, but the victory comes at a price. More Japanese shells find Johnston. Gun Mount 51 takes a direct hit, killing half its crew. Forward magazines are flooded to prevent explosion. Electrical power flickers and dies in several compartments. The ship shudders with each impact. Steam pours from ruptured pipes. Oil leaks from fuel tanks. Still, Johnston fights on. For the hammer falls, but Johnston cannot withstand forever. Shells tear into her midsection. The aft guns are destroyed. The rudder jams. The ship is listing, power failing. Evans himself is badly wounded, one arm hanging painfully at his side. Still, he refuses to leave the bridge. A sailor urges him, "Captain, you've got to get below, get patched up." Evans shakes his head. "No, I'll stay here with my ship." A sailor later said, "The captain was everywhere, shouting, commanding, fighting the ship like she was a battleship herself." Japanese heavy cruiser Yahagi approaches the crippled destroyer. Her guns are trained on Johnston's bridge, but something extraordinary happens. On Yahagi's bridge, Captain Kaigun Yoshimura raises his binoculars. He studies the smoking American destroyer, noting her battle damage, her courage. Then, incredibly, he orders his men to salute. Japanese sailors line Yahagi's rails, coming to attention as they pass the dying destroyer. They recognize courage when they see it, even in an enemy. At last, Johnston is dead in the water. Fires rage across the deck. Ammunition cooks off in the magazines. Evans gives the order, "Abandon ship." The crew begin leaping into the oily sea, clinging to life rafts, wounded and burned. For 2 days they float in the vast Pacific. Oil-covered men fight for survival. Of Johnston's crew of 327, only 141 survive. From the bridge, Evans watches them go. Witnesses last saw him standing tall, both hands still on the rail, as the water closed over the ship. The Johnston slides beneath the waves, her flag still flying. Incredibly, the desperate fight of Taffy 3 worked. The Japanese fleet, harassed by destroyers, air attacks, and smoke screens, turns away. Carriers are saved. Thousands of lives are spared. The Johnston Hull and Samuel B. Roberts are lost. But their sacrifice will be remembered as one of the greatest naval last stands in history. Only 141 of Johnston's crew survive. Commander Ernest Evans is missing, presumed killed. He is later awarded the Medal of Honor.